Imagine a world transformed. A vast, shimmering expanse of ice, stretching further than the eye can see, locking away colossal amounts of water and reshaping continents. This was Earth during the last glacial maximum, a time of profound change and immense challenge. For generations, our textbooks have painted a vivid picture: the first humans to set foot in the Americas, intrepid hunter-gatherers, crossing a narrow land bridge of frozen Earth, chasing mammoths into a new world. This narrative, elegant in its simplicity, has long been the cornerstone of American prehistory. It suggests a singular, dramatic entry point, a clear timeline, and a straightforward path of dispersal. But what if this compelling story, so deeply ingrained in our collective understanding, is merely a fragment of a much grander, far more intricate tapestry? What if the human journey into the Americas began not with a single step across an icy corridor, but with multiple, audacious voyages, stretching back into a past far more ancient and enigmatic than we've ever dared to imagine? Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew. For decades, the Bering Land Bridge theory stood as the undisputed explanation for the peopling of the Americas. During the last ice age, massive glacier locked up vast quantities of Earth's water, causing global sea levels to plummet by hundreds of feet. This dramatic drop exposed a vast, fertile landmass known as Beringia, connecting Siberia and Alaska. This expansive, ice-free corridor, rich in grasslands and teeming with megafauna, was envisioned as the highway for early human migration. The prevailing model suggested that around 13,000 years ago, small bands of hunter-gatherers, following their prey, traversed this land bridge. From there, they were thought to have slowly spread southward, populating two vast continents. It was a logical, seemingly complete narrative, offering a clear one-way in, one-timeline solution to a monumental historical question. Within this framework, the Clovis First theory emerged as the dominant archaeological paradigm. It posited that the earliest inhabitants of the Americas belonged to the Clovis culture, named after distinctive, fluted spear points first discovered near Clovis, New Mexico. These exquisitely crafted tools, dating back approximately 13,000 years, were considered the definitive signature of the continent's first true pioneers. The Clovis culture became the benchmark, the chronological and cultural starting point for all subsequent human history in the Americas. Any archaeological discovery that predated Clovis was met with intense skepticism, often dismissed as misidentified artifacts, contaminated samples, or simply impossible. The scientific community, in its pursuit of order and clarity, had established a powerful gatekeeper, fiercely guarding this established narrative against any perceived threats. Then, in the 1970s, a groundbreaking discovery in southern Chile began to unravel this carefully constructed timeline. At a site called Monteverde, archaeologist Tom Dilleley and his team unearthed something truly extraordinary: undeniable evidence of human habitation dating back over 14,500 years. This was at least 1,500 years before the accepted arrival of Clovis people in North America. The findings at Monteverde were meticulously preserved beneath layers of peat, offering an unprecedented glimpse into ancient life. They included wooden tent stakes, hearths, stone tools, even remnants of medicinal plants and mastodon meat. The sheer wealth and diversity of the artifacts, coupled with irrefutable radiocarbon dating, presented an undeniable challenge to the Clovis First model. Initially met with fierce resistance and disbelief, Monteverde eventually forced the scientific community to confront an uncomfortable truth: humans were in the Americas far earlier than previously imagined, and in a place that defied the land bridge narrative. The existence of Monteverde posed a profound geographical dilemma. If people were in southern Chile over 14,500 years ago, how did they get there? The traditional inland route, through an ice-free corridor that only fully opened much later, seemed impossible. The vast, impenetrable ice sheets of the last glacial maximum would have blocked any southward passage for millennia. This led to the emergence of a compelling alternative, the coastal migration hypothesis, often dubbed the Kelp Highway. This theory suggests that early mariners, equipped with rudimentary watercraft, navigated along the Pacific coastline of North and South America. They would have followed a rich marine ecosystem, a kelp highway teeming with fish, shellfish, and sea mammals, providing abundant sustenance. This route would have been accessible even when inland passages were blocked by ice. The idea of ancient maritime travel across vast distances might seem audacious, yet history offers powerful precedents. Thousands of years later, Polynesian navigators embarked on epic voyages across the Pacific using sophisticated knowledge of currents, stars, and winds. If they could achieve such feats, why couldn't earlier populations, driven by necessity and curiosity, have done the same? The Pacific coast, even during the Ice Age, would have offered a relatively stable and resource-rich environment. Coastal dwellers are often skilled seafarers, and the technology for simple boats, rafts, skin boats, or dugout canoes has existed for tens of thousands of years. This kelp highway theory provides a plausible explanation for the rapid dispersal of people down the Pacific coast, allowing them to reach distant sites like Monteverde long before any inland corridor was viable. It paints a picture of resourceful, adaptable pioneers, not just land-bound hunters. Monteverde was not an isolated anomaly, it was the first domino to fall. Soon, other sites across the Americas began to yield evidence that further eroded the Clovis first paradigm. In Texas, at the Buttermilk Creek complex, archaeologists uncovered stone tools embedded in sediments dating back over 15,000 years. These artifacts, distinct from Clovis technology, provided further proof of an earlier, different cultural presence. In Oregon, at Paisley Caves, an even more intimate connection to the past was unearthed: human coprolites, or fossilized feces, dated to approximately 14,300 years ago. The DNA extracted from these ancient remains confirmed a human presence, pushing back the timeline and adding another layer of complexity to the story. Each new discovery was a direct challenge, a scientific dagger to the heart of the long-held Clovis first belief. Then came a discovery that truly reshaped the narrative, pushing the timeline back by an astonishing margin. In White Sands National Park, New Mexico, researchers uncovered a treasure trove of ancient human footprints pressed into the muddy shores of a prehistoric lake. These perfectly preserved tracks, left by adults and children, offered an incredibly intimate glimpse into the lives of these early inhabitants. When dated using advanced techniques, the footprints revealed an age of nearly 23,000 years old. 23,000 years. This meant humans were present in North America not just before Clovis, but before the peak of the last glacial maximum itself, when ice sheets were at their most extensive. This discovery shattered the notion of a single, late migration across the Bering Land Bridge, forcing a radical re-evaluation of the entire story. It suggested a human presence during a period when the continent was thought to be largely inaccessible. The White Sands footprints opened a Pandora's box of possibilities, prompting archaeologists to re-examine older, more controversial claims. Some sites in Mexico, like Chiquihuite Cave, have yielded stone tools and evidence of human activity potentially dating back 26,000 to 30,000 years. These claims, while still hotly debated, suggest a human presence during the very height of the Ice Age, long before any accepted ice-free corridor existed. Even more contentious are sites like Pedra Furada in Brazil, where researchers claim evidence of human activity stretching back nearly 50,000 years. These extraordinary claims are met with intense scrutiny, with some scientists hailing them as revolutionary and others dismissing them as natural geological formations or misinterpretations. The controversy is fierce, because if proven true, such dates would fundamentally rewrite the entire history of human migration out of Africa and into the Americas, suggesting a much earlier, perhaps even pre-modern human presence. And then, there are the truly mind-bending discoveries, those that push the boundaries of what we consider possible. In California, at the Cerruti Mastodon site, researchers uncovered mastodon bones bearing what appeared to be marks from human tools, dated to an astonishing 130,000 years ago. If confirmed, this would mean humans were in North America tens of thousands of years before Homo sapiens even began their major migrations out of Africa. This claim, understandably, has ignited a firestorm of debate. Could these marks be natural geological processes? Or do they represent an incredibly early, perhaps even pre-modern human presence in the Americas, a population that arrived and then vanished without a trace? The implications are staggering, challenging not just the timeline of American settlement, but the very narrative of human evolution and dispersal across the globe. It forces us to consider the possibility of multiple, perhaps failed, waves of exploration far deeper in time. The old, neat story of a single march across an ice bridge has crumbled. The peopling of the Americas was not a singular, dramatic event, but a complex, multifaceted process. It likely involved multiple waves of migration from different source populations, arriving at different times, and utilizing diverse routes. Some undoubtedly used the Bering Land Bridge when it was accessible. Others, as the evidence increasingly suggests, navigated the coastlines by sea. The genetic evidence further complicates the picture. While the primary ancestry of Native Americans points to Siberian origins, tantalizing hints of other genetic contributions have emerged. Some studies suggest faint connections to populations in Australasia, raising the provocative question of ancient trans-Pacific voyages. Could early seafarers from distant lands have reached the Americas, leaving behind subtle genetic echoes that persist to this day? Or are these statistical anomalies awaiting further clarification? The deeper we delve, the more we realize that history is not a straight line, but a tangled, branching web of interconnected journeys. The Americas, far from being the last continent discovered by humans, may have been a destination reached, perhaps abandoned, and then rediscovered multiple times over tens of thousands of years. Each footprint in the mud, each tool buried in the soil, each scrap of bone unearthed from ancient layers adds another piece to a monumental puzzle. We are witnessing a profound shift in our understanding, moving from a simplistic narrative to one that embraces complexity, resilience, and the incredible adaptability of early human populations. What we now know with certainty is this, that Clovis First theory has been definitively overturned. The Bering Land Bridge, while still a crucial part of the story, is no longer the only chapter. The first Americans were not a monolithic group, arriving at a single moment. They were diverse, bold explorers, ingenious innovators, and tenacious survivors whose epic journeys not only reshaped continents but redefined the very boundaries of human possibility. Their story is one of enduring mystery, relentless exploration, and a profound connection to a past far deeper than we ever dared to imagine. So, the next time you encounter a simplified account of history, remember the footprints in the sand, the tools beneath the ice, and the whispers from ancient peat bogs. The story of the Americas is still being written, revised, and revealed, piece by painstaking piece. We are living through a revolutionary period of discovery, where new evidence constantly challenges old assumptions. If you're fascinated by these untold stories, by the controversies that reshape our understanding of the past, and by the relentless pursuit of truth that defines scientific exploration, then you're in the right place. Join us as we continue to unearth the secrets, challenge the narratives, and bring to light the hidden histories that textbooks often overlook. Subscribe now to embark on this incredible journey through time, because there are countless more mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and together we're going to bring them to light.